and welcome to episode 3 of Samwise, an advice podcast in which I, Sam, try to answer any and all of life's questions using the wisdom contained within Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy, including the special features. Before we get to questions today, I want to talk a little bit about the fall of Gondor. The White City of Minas Tirith was home to the steward, Denethor, father to Boromir and Faramir. This is a man so insecure and so hungry for temporary power that he was willing to let his city and his country fall, rather than give up his title or help others. When Gandalf and Pippin arrived in Minas Tirith, it was dire, and it only got worse when Faramir got wounded in a skirmish with the Ringwraiths. So Gandalf, he gave up on Denethor, but he never gave up on this last stronghold of men. He broke the rules and he called for help, lighting the beacons so that the Rohirrim would come. He saved Faramir, even as Denethor tried to burn not only his family, but his entire city down. He fought at the front lines whenever he could, fighting back the Ringwraiths so that Faramir and his remaining soldiers could get back to the gates. He even risked his life to save these lesser mortals. Sometimes it's easy to look around and feel like perhaps our species has doomed itself. We are also men, and we are also on the verge of destruction, with things like climate change and inequality and sexual assault and political strife and dropping sperm counts, according to that article I read in GQ, and whatever else has been on my mind. And while I can't stop the Denethors of this world, the insecure people who grasp for power rather than long-term solutions, they can only be stopped by fire and heights. We can fight for our little corners of the world. Like Pippin, we can speak up when we see people being harmed in the same way that he spoke up for Faramir. We can fight alongside our friends, even when it seems futile. We can be like Gandalf and break the stupid rules that uphold traditions that no longer serve us in favor of kindness and compassion and connection. Don't let these tiny men grasping at fake power steal your hope or your humanity. Press on, my friends. And now to questions.
Hello, Samwise. I'm dealing with some strange emotions towards my parents who recently lost their dog, whom I really loved. And really soon after, they bought a new dog. And I don't know how to tell them that I feel that that is rude towards our old dog. Does Lord of the Rings have any advice on how to deal with someone either moving on too soon or just kind of replacing a loved one?
Wow. This is a really tough question, as both a dog lover and someone who has had to see quite a few of their beloved childhood pets across the Rainbow Bridge. First of all, I'm very, very sorry. Now, as far as Lord of the Rings goes, I think it's actually really valuable to look at the love triangle between Aragorn, Arwen, and Éowyn. When Aragorn meets Éowyn, he thinks that Arwen has chosen to leave for the Grey Havens. He's communicated with Elrond, who, in a fit of stupidity, tries to speak for his daughter about her own love life. But anyway, that's for another question for another day. He thinks that Arwen has kind of given up on the world of men. And he loved her so deeply. It is a very real and very palpable loss. And he makes Éowyn this spirited, beautiful, talented, strong woman who reminds him of Arwen. And because his heart is big, it has expanded from this love of Arwen. It's ready to be filled by love again. And while he ends up making what the audience and what I feel is the right decision, saying no to her because of their age and experience gaps, and because he's still holding out hope that Arwen will make the right choice, he's not totally wrong to be interested in her, in the same way that your parents are not totally wrong to be interested in getting a new dog. There's tons of dogs in this world who just, they need homes, and there's tons of people who have the space and the love and the affection, and they're ready. But no one is better for dogs than previous dog owners. their hearts are already expanded. They've already got a dog-shaped hole there. And so I think you need to be kind and compassionate and forgiving of your parents in the same way that Aragorn's friends were forgiving of him for being interested in someone new. No one said anything, not Legolas, not Gimli, not anybody. Because it's totally understandable. When you've had a great love in your life, when they're gone, I don't think it leaves you with a hole. They always say statistically that men who are widowed end up finding successful second marriages, and I think that it's because our hearts are meant to be full. They're meant to be filled up. They're meant to love. And I think that's true of dogs as well, as hard as it may be, especially as someone who has loved the other dog, who's potentially grown up or lived with this dog. It's hard to let go of the past and understand where your parents are coming from, but I really think you should try. As hard as it is, their hearts were missing a piece, and they found something that doesn't replicate it exactly, but that fills them with that same sense of love and joy and devotion that their old dog did. I had to learn this lesson very personally when my parents, after we lost our childhood beagles, adopted 2 rescue dogs in succession. And while I've never lived with them in the way that I did with my beagles, they're such great fits for my parents. And I'm so happy that even though they're not my dogs or the dogs that I knew, that my parents have found them, because they're loving people and they're great candidates to give a dog a great home. So I hope you can find it in your heart to embrace this new dog like your parents have, because it is a testament to the love that they had for your old dog.
Hey, Sam, when do you think you'd be ready to have a pet? Like, what is a good time, or what should you look for if you are thinking about getting a pet or a child?
Wow, that question took a hard left from pet to child, but there are, I guess, some commonalities to making really big decisions about bringing different types of life into your future. And to answer those questions, it's really helpful to look for Arwen in The Lord of the Rings when she's on the road to the Grey Havens and has a vision of her and Aragorn's child that could have been or could still be if she makes the choice to stay behind and embrace the world of men. Elrond already saw this vision because some elves are gifted with foresight, and she kind of knew this, and she realized her dad had kind of done her dirty and not given her the most informed decision. So she decides to invest in the future and to invest in the idea of this child with Aragorn. She goes back to Gondor, she inspires him, and they begin fighting for the future, knowing that not only is the kind of larger concept of humanity at stake, but their own flesh and blood. And while that's obviously a huge decision and one that shouldn't be taken lightly in the same way that having a child shouldn't be taken lightly, I also think that people should kind of consider that level of gravitas when considering a pet. It isn't a small responsibility, and I think you need to consider, do I have the love in my heart? Do I understand that this is a long-term commitment? And do I understand that this is kind of fate of the world level seriousness? I mean, sure, maybe you're not saving the world by adopting a dog. Maybe you're not saving the world by having a kid, but it's going to upset your world in the same way that a cataclysmic event would. It is cataclysmic, and that's okay. So if you're ready for that kind of big life change, if you're ready to give your all for a future that doesn't just include you, that's not just selfish, that doesn't just involve retiring to some dope-ass Grey Havens after taking a dope cruise, then I think you're ready. And if you can't answer that question affirmative, maybe you should wait. And that's okay too. I also feel like maybe if you're considering kids and pets at the same level, stick with pet. Don't go kid. This last question comes from the Samwise Google Voice line at 608-561-2755. It was a text message, and it reads, "Hi, Samwise. I'm trying to think of a fun date for my fiance and I that is something different from the usual. Does Lord of the Rings have any recommendations?" Oh my goodness, does it ever? Some of the moments of levity in The Lord of the Rings, which I would assume levity equals good date because I like fun dates, include fireworks displays, a la the kind Gandalf presented in the Shire. So if you know of anyone doing dope, like dragon-themed fireworks displays, take her there. Legolas was the number one hottie in The Lord of the Rings when I was like 14. So if you want to take some cool archery lessons or any other kind of lessons that kind of get you out of your groove, that's always a fun thing to try. Or the best part in Return of the King is clearly when Aragorn leads a horde of ghosts through Minas Tirith and they wipe out everyone, just murdering hordes of orcs and also kind of being creepy. And since it's October, the equivalent of that in our world would be to go see a horror film or go through a haunted house. My own fiance and I are about to head to Not Scary Farm because he loves me in the way that Aragorn loves doling out justice. And I'm really, really excited. So those are my suggestions based on The Lord of the Rings. I hope those work out for you. Good luck. Thanks so much for once again tuning in. If you want me to answer your question, email me at sam.wise.ath@gmail.com or call or text 608-561-2755. Again, that's sam.wise.ath@gmail.com or 608-561-2755. If you like what you heard, rate and review us on iTunes. The ATH Network also has other podcasts during the week. On Mondays, you can hear Venture Bros, a Venture Brothers podcast. And on Thursdays, you can hear After the Hype, the OG. If you go to athpod.com, there's also articles every Wednesday and Friday. So the ATH Network has you covered every day of the week. Again, that's Venture Bros, a Venture Brothers podcast on Monday, Samwise on Tuesday, an article on Wednesday, After the Hype on Thursday, and another article on Friday. I'm really hoping that you tune in to at least one of these other features during the week. You can also follow me on social media, and by social media, I mean Instagram at SammyJane613, that's SAMIJANE 613, or you can follow my dog at Saint Laddi, that's Saint_LADDI on Instagram. Her life is way cooler than mine. She comes to my office and somehow manages to have a better job than me. Otherwise, keep tuning in. We've really loved it, and keep sending me your questions because I love answering those and sharing the wisdom of these movies. Bye!